Hello to everyone and welcome back to my channel where we cover mods for various games, and today I have a video for you about Warhammer 3 and the mod called Radious. Lately I've been covering only this mod, but don't worry, in the future I will show you guys something else. This mod just covers all the available factions so far for the game. So I just want to finish it first before going somewhere else. So anyway, today's video is going to be about the Tomb Kings. Exactly what you guys wanted to see. And with Radious mod, we're going to get 22 new units for Tomb Kings faction. From what I can tell you guys, you're going to see the new elite infantry, new elite archers, new elite cavalry units, and some of the construct that can be definitely useful and definitely an upgrade from the vanilla units, especially elite infantry. I think that's what the Tomb Kings were lacking in the vanilla game, so I think it's definitely a nice addition to have all these units with this mod for your next gameplay. But before we start, can I ask you guys, please subscribe for my channel if you like the content and hit the like button, and we shall begin. Now we'll begin with the new addition for the Skeleton Warriors units. Here we have two new variants. The one with dual wield, that's your infantry killer. From the vanilla version, the one with the shields, these guys come with the dual wield swords. They have a better stats for dealing damage, but worse stats for their melee defense, and they don't have shields and not a lot of armor, so make sure to keep them away from enemies' missile units. As all the skeleton units for the Tomb Kings faction, this guys also has Realm of Souls up to tier 3. They cause fear, as all the undead units, and like all the undead units, they don't have lots of leadership, so make sure to watch for the leadership, otherwise they're gonna start receiving damage. And their second version with great weapons, in this case two-handed swords. This is your armor-piercing variant. They consider as a melee shield, but I think this is a nice addition. For example, if you're dealing with some armored enemies, these guys can do better against them than their other variants, so more variations for you guys to use. Nehekara Warriors, this one with shields. In vanilla game we had them with dual wield swords. That was your anti-infantry unit, and this one you can use an upgrade to hold your front lines. A better stats than the tier 1 skeletons, an upgrade from that unit, and if you can, just fill your army with these guys. They're gonna perform much better. They have more leadership, more armor, better fighting stats, even though it doesn't say, but they have a decent armor piercing damage. So definitely a nice version for you guys to use for your front lines. And finally, didn't take that long, we went to elite infantry, the one that I told you guys at the beginning of my video that I think the Tomb Kings were lacking. And here we have the Zanjri Black Shields. Two variants we have. This one with swords. They have a nice amount of armor, silver shields, have flaming attacks and bonus versus infantry. Also they have the expert charge defense and fire resistance of 30%. I think it's a very nice unit for the mid to late game to hold your lines. And they're anti-infantry, and infantry, that's exactly who they're gonna be fighting against most of the time. So yeah guys, a very nice unit. And their second version is with spears. That's your anti-large version to kill large entities. They also come with the same amount of armor, silver shields, flaming attacks. The only difference is they have the charge reflection, same amount of fire resistance, and a bit lower melee stats because they're considered to be anti-large. So just choose them wisely, depends on who you're fighting against. Next on the list we have the Bright Shields of Makar version that deals perfect against the enemy's infantry units. They got nice amount of armor, nice leadership for undead, got poison attacks, which I think it's a very useful tool to use. They have bonus versus infantry, they have vanguard deployment, strider ability, plus a cool looking unit, and I think finally Tomb Kings can put to the table a very nice elite infantry that can hold on their own with nice leadership. I don't think they're gonna crumble. And the second version with the halberds, that's basically your anti-large version, and they have an armor piercing halberds, which is nice too. can be good against infantry as well, even though they're considered to be anti-large, but their armor piercing damage can be useful. And the difference from their last version, they have a charge defense against large entities and charge reflection, obviously, because that's considered as anti-large infantry unit. Very nice, I like it. And here we got the Sphinx Legion of Numas. This one with dual wield swords, or whatever weapon they're using. I think it's swords. They also come with two versions. This one has a nice armor, amazing leadership, has a thunder armor ability on their melee attacks, which reduces the enemy's armor by 20, which is a very nice addition for them, especially if they're dealing with heavily armored enemies. They have a bonus versus infantry. They're expert at charge defense, which is nice for the dual wield unit. That's rarely you can find something like that on a dual wield unit. They have Strider ability, two bonuses, one physical resistance of 10%, and another one is missile resistance of the same 10%. An elite infantry for Tomb Kings to deal with enemy's infantry units. And their second version with halberds, and guess what? Yes, they're anti-large versions. Basically everything is the same. The only difference, they have the charge reflection and bonus versus charge defense. Cool looking units, very nice skins. I feel like Tomb Kings in Radious mod got lots of love. Can't say anything more about this unit, they're just perfect. And guess what? There's still more for the elite infantry for the Tomb Kings, but these guys are the last infantry, the most expensive ones that you can get, but they have the best stats. And they are guardians of the Alabaster Tower, and this version with swords. They have a lot of armor, a lot of leadership for them, that they come with magical attacks, so they're gonna be perfect dealing against undead or demons, mostly demons. They have bonus sources infantry. With their shields, huge shields, they come with expert charge defense, because nobody can go through the shields, like it's like same size as a door. They have perfect vigor, and both physical resistance of 5%. Nice 20% of spell resistance, so the magic is not gonna do lots of damage to them. Also, these guys are not as fast, but they have a okay charge bonus for the shielded infantry, which I find it very interesting, and they look really cool. And their second version, who come with spears, are anti-large. Basically everything is the same, but this guys has a charge reflection. Yeah, what do you guys think? I think Tomb Kings with this new elite infantry can be an even deadlier force to reckon with. Haven't really played Tomb Kings a lot in this game, but based on these units I'm looking forward to, I think I'm like me or you guys can have lots of fun with these new units. But we're not done. We're going to the Missile Infantry. For the Missile Infantry, we have a Tier 2 Cobra Legion of Liberas. Before, in the vanilla game, we just had the regular skeletons, Tier 1 shitty archers, but that's the best as you can get for the Missile Infantry. These guys are next level. They have a bonus versus infantry, both in melee and range. The range attack has an ability to take cover, which reduces the enemy's leadership and speed by 10%. Have a decent speed overall, an upgraded version for your regular skeleton archers. Whenever you can, just hire them instead. Yes, they cost more, but for the mid of the game, you shouldn't have a problem with the economy. And for those who like archer units, I think you guys gonna love this one. Chosen Asaph Archers. I hope I pronounced their names right. That's a tier 3 missile infantry. They have decent melee stats, not the best, so don't consider them fighting in melee. Make sure they use all their ammunition. They come with poison attacks, both for their melee and range. A very nice range for their arrows to fly. They have a missile resistance of 10%. Have a good amount of armor leadership. They can withstand some enemy's missile fire, but don't rely on that as much. Just watch out for them, so they can do good stuff for your army, because poisoned enemies are easier to deal with. And the best of the best for the missile infantry that Tomb Kings can get are the Crimson Legions of the Asp. They got everything that the missile infantry would want to have. Nice armor, good leadership, fire attacks. Their missile attacks are armor piercing. They have a nice range. They also come with missile resistance of 15% and fire resistance of 40%. It's very good for undead units, because some undead units are very prone to fire damage. So these guys are very good, and I think you guys will find the proper use for these ones, because they're the best that the Tomb Kings can get. There's another version of them, and that version is Mounted Chosen Asp Archers. Basically your missile cavalry with nice armor, good leadership, decent speed with poison attacks both for their melee and range. These guys can be vanguard deployed, fire whilst moving, and have missile resistance of 10%. Yes, their speed is not the best for the missile cavalry, but with their poison attacks, I don't think anyone can catch them. So keep that in mind, guys. These guys can be a pain in the butt for any army that you're facing against. So I think it's very nice to have these units in your army. And what do we have here? We have new construct units. These ones are School Guardians. I believe we have two variants of them. This one is your Infantry Killer. Amazing armor, mediocre leadership, good speed to flank your enemy's infantry, melee attacks as Thunder Armor ability, which reduces the enemy's armor, bonus versus infantry. They have a spell resistance of 25%, they cause fear, and as all construct units, whenever their leadership goes below 0, they crumble. So be careful for their leadership, make sure they fight beside your lord, which improves their leadership, and this guy's gonna be golden. And won't say it's their second version, but I think it's a completely different unit. This one's called Lines of Descent, an upgraded version from the Ushabi with bows. They cost a bit more, but they bring more to the table. All stats are better than the regular Ushabi units. They have more armor, a bit more leadership, more speed, more attack, more melee defense, more weapon strength, which is armor piercing and anti-large, more range, and more missile damage, which is also armor piercing and anti-large. So this is your monstrous missile infantry to deal with large entities of your enemies. They also come with 10% of missile resistance and they cause fear. Just fill your army whenever you can with these new units. They're definitely gonna do much better than your regular Ushabi units. And look what we got here. Underworld Deathwatch. Another version from your vanilla Tomb King Scorpion unit. This one has a nice armor. Also, it costs more than your vanilla version, but has higher stats. It comes with poison attacks as a bonus versus infantry. You can place them everywhere you want with the vanguard deployment. Has a missile resistance of 15%. And spell resistance of 50% as well. It costs Terror and Fear, and as all construct can crumble whenever its leadership goes below 0. So, like I said, watch out for their leadership if you're playing any undead factions. Going to faster units, we have Sand Snakes, an upgraded version from your previous units that are like that. They have nice armor, their melee attacks cause magical damage. It also plays thunder armor on your enemies and reduces their armor by 20. They are anti-infantry both in melee and range. Their ammunition is also magical, and their missiles put poison on your enemies. They have vanguard deployment, charge defense against large, so they can protect themselves from the enemy's charge. They have a charge reflection, missile resistance of 30%, which is nice, especially because they don't have shields. They need some protection from the enemy's missile units. fire resistance of 40%, which is also nice, especially artillery that deals lots of fire damage, and they can cause fear. Like I said, these are the upgraded version from your vanilla snakes, so whenever you can, just fill your army with these units, because they're gonna do well. And we got the Royal Chariot Guard, a chariot unit that consists of 8 entities with nice armor, decent speed, a melee attacks that causes both fire and magical damage, has a bonus versus infantry, amazing charge bonus, so they deal lots of damage on the charge. They encourage your other ally units. They have a fire resistance of 30%. They cause fear, have an okay melee defense for a chariot unit. But yeah guys, if you like using chariots, that's definitely an upgraded version for your regular chariot unit from vanilla Tomb Kings roster. And just look at the flames that goes from their tires. Imagine how it's gonna look when they're moving. And finishing this roster showcase with the last 2 cavalry units. This one is the Nehakara Horseman with spears. That's your anti-large version. They have decent amount of armor with bronze shields to protect them the enemy's missiles. Decent speed. Actually a very nice melee defense for the cavalry unit, I would say. They cause fear, like the all undead units. And a decent charge bonus, just for the spare cavalry. Just keep in mind they don't consider as a shock cavalry, that's why their charge is not that high, but still not a bad unit to deal with the enemy's large entities at tier 2. And the last 22nd unit, we have the Mahrak Long Spears. Another version to deal with your enemy's large entities. These guys come with nice armor, silver shields, which is nice protection against the enemy missiles. Their melee attacks put Thunder Armor ability on the enemies, which reduces the enemy's armor now, and they have a nice bonus versus large. They have a spell resistance of 20%, they also cause fear, and have a decent charge bonus. An amazing melee defense. I think it's a very nice melee defense for the cavalry, so these guys can even stay longer fighting the large entities that you send them to fight against. I think their melee defense bonus, not the bonus, but the amount of melee defense they get, is because of their shields that the size of the door. A very good unit. I feel like I like them all, and let's skip to conclusion. And that was all the new units that been added with the Radious mod for the Tomb Kings. Total of 22, like I said at the beginning. This is the must-have unit mod for your next gameplay, because everything I showed you today is just an upgrade for what you had in a vanilla game. Every single unit can be very useful. The elite infantry, both missile and melee, were lacking for the Tomb Kings roster, and now you guys can fill those spots and have your proper armies with the proper elite infantry units and your construct to bring glory for the Tomb Kings. It was Mod Addict with you guys, and I hope you guys have a nice day.